entitled/trashy parents with their 3 brats on our plane. Hello everybody, it's been a long time. Unlike most of the other stories I posted, this one isn't about the crazy ass mother of my ex-girlfriend. If you have any interest in reading those, you can find them here, but that's not what this post is about. This story happened to me very recently. A little backstory, my girlfriend and I wanted to go on a vacation this October, so we looked around and booked a nice hotel inn and flights to Greece. The story is pretty long, so I'll split it into 2 posts. One post for the trip from Germany to Greece and one for the trip from Greece to Germany. Unfortunately, we had the same family on both of our flights, but now, without further ado, let's introduce the cast. M, entitled Mom, Ed, entitled Dad, B1, Brat 1, male, around 14 years old, B2, Brat 2, male, around 8 years old, B3, Brat 3, female, around 3 years old, GF, my girlfriend. Me, well, guess who, flight attendant. Our wonderful story begin in the departure hall of a mid-sized German airport that shall not be named here. Me and GF just got through security and sat down on one of the benches near the gate that was printed on our tickets. A couple of minutes after we sat down, the family I described above entered the departure hall. While B3 was relatively quiet, B1 and B2 fought over who gets to use the tablet they had with them first. After a couple of minutes where they were yelling at each other loud enough for a security guard to come over, Ed decided that they should use it together, so he came over to us. Ed, stand up, my children need to sit here so they can watch a movie together. Me, well how about no, there are more than enough other places to sit here. Ed, yeah, but this is our gate. We have to board our plane from here. Me, yeah well, it's our gate too. First come, first serve. Ed stand up now. GF no. Get lost. Contrary to our expectations, F actually went back to his family and guided B1 and B2 to another bench. The whole family sat down around this bench and they were relatively quiet for the next 1.5 hours. When the screen above the gate started to show that the boarding for our flight was to start soon, it got loud again. M and B3 started to argue about something and after a while they got so loud that pretty much everyone in the whole terminal heard them. B3 I don't wear diapers. I'm not a baby. M honey please. It's just to make sure nothing happens. Airplane toilets are dirty, I don't want you to use them. B3 I'm not a baby. And so on and so on. After all this went on for about 5 minutes, M just took B3 to the toilet while she was throwing herself at the ground to stop M from taking her there. The boarding started a short while after the scene happened and both GF and me were hoping that we would sit far away from this family. But of course, almost as soon as we sat down, B1, B2 and B3 sat down in the row right behind us and Ed and M in the row behind them. B3 was still crying and yelling about not being a baby while B1 and B2 started to fight over their Nintendo Switch right after sitting down. M stopped the fight by telling them to play together, so they put down the table and put the Switch there to play together. Once boarding was completed the FA told them to turn off all electronic devices and to put the table back to the original position. B1 tried to argue with the FA but she just told him to do it or to leave the plane which silenced him pretty fast. From there on everything was pretty normal, the plane took off, the FA started the service and so on. Soon after takeoff the pilot told us that we should keep the seat belts fastened for the whole flight due to expected heavy turbulences. Of course, B1-3 didn't listen to that and started to jump around their seats right after we reached cruise height. About halfway to the flight, it started to smell pretty bad. Shortly after I noticed it, M stood up and went over to ask B3 if she used the diaper. B3 shook her head but M took her, laid her down on the floor of the corridor and started to undress her. The FA saw it and went right over to her. FA, excuse me madam, what are you doing? M, I change my daughter's diaper, I think that's pretty obvious. She proceeded to undress B3 and opened the diaper which made the smell increase a lot. FA, madam, as we told you before takeoff, this aircraft has 2 lavatories, one in the front and one on the back. Those are also equipped with changing tables. M, yeah, and I bet you that both are dirty as hell. There is no way I change my daughter there. FA, madam, I have to ask you to dress your daughter again, take her to the lavatory and change her diaper there. M, I can't do that. Don't you smell it? She pooped herself, I can't just dress her and keep her in a dirty diaper for the rest of the flight. Fa, I don't ask you to keep her in the dirty diaper for the rest of the flight, I only ask you to change her on the changing table that we provide for situations like this. The smell is bothering the people around you. Fine. I'll do it, but if my little girl gets sick I will sue you. During this whole episode, B3 kept crying and yelling at M. After this discussion, M threw B3's pants on the floor, closed the diaper and grabbed her bag and took B3 to the toilet. A couple of minutes later she came back, put B3 on her seat, stuffed the dirty diaper in the bag on the seat in front of her and sat down on her seat. Fa came over and asked M to take the diaper and throw it in the bin on the toilet, but she refused to do that. During this discussion, the expected turbulences started and Fa had to get to a seat and buckle up so the dirty diaper stayed where it was, in the pocket right behind GF's seat. The rest of the flight was more or less normal, except for the shit smell from behind and the fact that B1 and B2 kept kicking my seat and arguing about who should use which switch controller. After the plane landed and we stopped at the gate, the whole family got up almost instantly, took their hand luggage, and went on to leave the plane. They left all their trash, including the dirty diaper on the seat and in the bags, and refused to take it with them after Fa told them to. As soon as they left the plane and got into the arrival terminal in Greece, B3 screamed at M that she wants to take off the diaper and that she isn't a baby anymore, while both B1 and B2 kept mocking her for wearing it. While she took B3 to the bathroom, B1 and B2 got onto the luggage band and tried to surf on it until one of the security guards stopped them from doing it. Thankfully, M and B3 didn't come back before GF and me got our luggage, and the other kids stayed pretty quiet after the security guard talked to them. To be honest, this was one of the worst flight experiences in my life, only to be topped by the flight back to Germany and by one flight where the guy next to me threw up all over me. TLDR, I flew to Greece with my girlfriend and we got a family on our flight that annoyed us even before we boarded the plane. The children kept arguing and annoying pretty much half off the plane during the whole flight, while the youngest of the shat herself and her mother thought it was a good idea to change her on the corridor floor of the plane. After landing, they left all their trash including the dirty diaper on their seats and refused to take it with them after the flight attendant told them to. As always, thank you a lot for reading through my, this time literally, shitty life if you made it until here. I'm not a native speaker, so please tell me if you find any mistakes so I can correct them and learn from them. As soon as I find the time to do it, I'll type down the flight back home. Edit, thank you for the silver. Edit 2, I'll type down the second part today. I'll post the link to it here as soon as I got it done. Edit 3, it took me a lot longer than I intended to, but here is the second part.